I injured my leg and suffered a concussion in a car accident. When I woke up, Marcus, my boyfriend's arch-rival, was standing by my bed, yelling at me. Killing yourself over a man? Even if your mother doesn't look down on you, I certainly do. Annoyed, I looked at Marcus testily. Who are you? Marcus frowned, giving me a suspicious look for a moment. Then he said, I'm your fiancé. Mrs. Victoria and Mrs. Eleanor both thought I had amnesia. Sitting by my hospital bed, they talked back and forth, telling me about my supposed relationship with Marcus. You were still in diapers when you were chasing Marcus around, calling him my future husband. From kindergarten to high school, you rode the same car to and from school every day. After college, you officially started dating. After graduating from college, you and Marcus both returned to work at your respective companies. You loved each other deeply, and your feelings were profound. My mouth twitched as I listened, then I interrupted them. So why would I kill myself over a man then? They fell silent. Mrs. Eleanor's mind worked quickly, and putting on quite a show, she sobbed softly. It's all Marcus's fault. I told him not to go drinking with his secretary, but he insisted. I looked at Mrs. Eleanor and asked, did he cheat on me with his secretary? Mrs. Eleanor froze, then quickly shook her head. No. Mrs. Victoria also started putting on quite a show, wiping away a non-existent tear from the corner of her eye. He was just drinking with his secretary, and you got jealous. Marcus's secretary is a man. Why would I be jealous? Suppressing a laugh, I asked Mrs. Victoria, and I killed myself just because I was jealous? Mrs. Victoria held my hand. Grace, you're not allowed to do anything so foolish again. You nearly scared your mother to death. Mrs. Eleanor also held my hand. Grace, you and Marcus should get married quickly. Don't worry, if he ever dares to drink with his secretary again, I'll break Hi's third leg. Breaking someone's third leg for just having a drink seems a bit extreme. I looked up, seeing Marcus, who had been standing silently behind them. Didn't he say he was my fiancé? You're playing along, so I'll play along too. Will you marry me? I asked him. Marcus's dark eyes met mine directly, his gaze so intense it felt like I was being pulled in. As long as you're willing, I am too, he said. My heart pounded after hearing him say that. The two mothers weren't entirely making things up. The Enda had been family friends for generations. Marcus and I were born in the same month of the same year. He was only 3 days older than me. From the moment our genders were known, both families started raising us as a future married couple. From kindergarten to college, we attended the same schools. Both families even used their influence to place us in the same classes. It wasn't until college, due to different majors, that we were no longer in the same class. Marcus and I were so familiar with each other, I knew how many hairs he had on his legs. Perhaps it was that very familiarity, but I had never felt that heart-fluttering feeling for him. During college, I met Daniel, who was as refined and gentle as jade. It was Daniel who made me experience that heart-fluttering feeling. Daniel and Marcus didn't get along, they were arch-rivals. I was the one who pursued Daniel. When I confessed my feelings to Daniel, he didn't reject me. We had a very sweet relationship. Seeing that Marcus and I had no spark between us, and after their attempts to persuade me failed, my parents agreed to my relationship with Daniel. After I started dating Daniel, I discovered he had a first love in his heart. That was his first love. I said I didn't mind, that it was all in the past. Marcus called me blinded by love and grew even more disgusted with Daniel. Before, I always wanted to get married, but Daniel was hesitant. Then one day, he proposed to me. I later found out that on he proposed to me, his first love was getting married to another man in Canada. The day before our engagement, he received a phone call from his first love. She was crying on the phone, saying her husband had beaten her. After hung up, he told me he was going to Canada to bring her back. I looked at Daniel coldly. What do you mean by going to Canada to bring her back? Are you going to abduct someone else's wife? Daniel frowned displeased. Haven't you seen those domestic violence cases online? Isabel is all alone, married far away in Canada. Do you know how helpless she must feel being beaten by her husband? Can't she contact her family back home? Can't she call the police? I retorted to Daniel. Daniel's tone was angry. Grace, can you stop being so pushy? When I come back, I'll still get engaged to you. You're the only one who will be my wife. I looked at Daniel with calm eyes. Tomorrow is our engagement party. Daniel came over and pulled me into his arms. Let's postpone the engagement. I'll bring Isabel back, and then we can choose a new date. I pushed him away. If you dare to go find her, we're over. In the end, Daniel still flew to Canada to find his first love. As I drove home after our breakup, I got into a car accident. The end. They both thought I had tried to kill myself because of Daniel. When I woke up from the accident, my irritable question to Marcus was mistaken by them as amnesia. The doctor came to examine me. Once Victoria and Mrs. Eleanor knew I was out of danger, they slipped away. They said Marcus would take care of me and help me regain my memory. As soon as they left, only Marcus and I remained in the private hospital room. Marcus stood by my bed, looking down at me. My left leg was in a cast, and my head was wrapped in bandages. I didn't need a mirror to know how awful I looked. I licked my dry lips. I want water. Marcus went to pour water and helped me drink it. After drinking water, my appetite slowly returned. I said I wanted porridge, and he personally cooked it for me. I said I wanted soup, and he personally made it for me. Watching his busy figure in the private hospital room's kitchen, it felt like being a child again. Marcus was the young master of but he wasn't the kind of rich kid who expected everything to be handed to him. Not only was he handsome and intelligent, but he was also an excellent cook. In elementary school, I loved his noodles. In middle school, I loved his braised pork. After college, I hadn't eaten his cooking anymore. After I started dating Daniel, he either ignored me or scolded me. His gaze towards me grew increasingly distant. I looked at Marcus, now playing the part of someone with no memory. I deliberately teased the old-fashioned man. Were we really deeply in love? Marcus turned to look at me. You have a mole on your instep, and 2 small raised scars on your back. His deep gaze lingered on my chest, his low voice carrying a hint of masculine charm. You have a red mole below your right breast. Tell me, how deep were our feelings? My face flushed crimson. Never mind the mole on my instep, or the small raised scars on my back. How did he know about the red mole below my right breast? I discovered that red mole when I was 18, it was in a very private spot, completely hidden when I wore a bra. I secretly gritted my teeth. Marcus must have snuck a peek while I was showering. I glared at him, grinding my teeth as I asked, did you confess first, or did I? Marcus smiled. I confessed first. I asked again, when? Marcus truly treated me as if I had amnesia. After graduation, I gave you a card. I froze the moment I heard that. I remembered that after graduation, we walked out of the exam hall together. Marcus pulled me to a poplar tree and asked how I thought I did on the exam. I smiled brightly. I felt good about it. He handed me a card. This is for you. I took the card. It had a photo of a famous pianist performing on stage. He knew that person was my idol, but a week before graduation, my idol's reputation was seriously ruined. Thinking about why his reputation was ruined, I felt like my hands were dirty just holding the card. I looked for a trash can, ready to throw the card away. Marcus's voice came from above my head. You don't like it? I nodded. No, I don't. His voice changed slightly. Aren't you going to look at the words on the back of the card? There were words on the back? Obediently, I looked at the words on the back of the card. Written in song typeface with a fountain pen, the calligraphy was graceful and flowing. There is a beautiful one, I see her and cannot forget her. A single day without seeing her, and I pine for her like mad. My first thought upon seeing those lines was, isn't this from Seamus Phoenix Mate? Marcus's voice came again from above my head. Still don't like it? The pianist's reputation was so thoroughly ruined that if I still liked him, I'd be a fool. I said, no, I don't. And then I threw the card away. Looking back now, I realized Marcus's face had been dark and terrifying then, with a hint of wounded despair. I stared blankly at Marcus. Was he confessing his feelings to me back then? And I threw away his confession card right in front of him. Wasn't that a blatant public humiliation? No wonder after graduation, he went abroad and only returned for the first day of college. When he came back, his eyes had been cold, and he deliberately distanced himself from me. I pursed my lips. I didn't know. If I had known he was confessing his feelings then, I definitely wouldn't have said I don't like it. I was puzzled. Couldn't he have just said it directly? Marcus shook his head. You have amnesia, it's normal not to remember many things from before. I'll be with you from now on, and I'll tell you anything you want to hear. I stayed in the hospital for half a month. During that half month, aside from using the restroom and showering with the help of a female caregiver, Marcus personally took care of everything else, meticulously attending to my needs. I suddenly realized Marcus would make a very good husband. He was handsome and wealthy, and he cared for me with such tenderness and consideration. After the cast on my leg was removed, Marcus helped me with rehabilitation for 2 days, and then handled the discharge procedures. Marcus carried me out of the hospital. His assistant pushed a wheelchair, and on it were several handbags. Just as we left the hospital, we saw Daniel. Beside him was a woman with waist-length hair, wearing a peach-colored spaghetti strap dress. She had a beautiful figure, fair skin, and alluring phoenix eyes. She was a stunning woman. So beautiful, it was no wonder Daniel couldn't forget her. I calmly withdrew my gaze. I was a person with amnesia now, so I didn't know them. Like a happy little woman, I snuggled my face into Marcus's chest. The moment Marcus saw Daniel, his first instinct was to look down at the woman in his arms. Seeing that her gaze only briefly and indifferently rested on Daniel before she quickly looked away, he subtly curved his lips into a slight smile and tightened his arm around her. Marcus, give grace to me. Daniel strode up to Marcus and reached out his arm. Marcus turned sideways. I quickly clutched Marcus's neck, looking warily at Daniel. Daniel looked completely bewildered by my reaction. I looked up, also asking Marcus with a bewildered expression, "Who is he?" Marcus withdrew the doting gaze he had on my face, then looked at Daniel with a calm, challenging expression. "Someone unimportant. You don't need to remember him." Daniel stared at me in astonishment. "Grace, you don't remember me?" Daniel rushed to the hospital to see me as soon as he returned to the country and heard about my car accident, completely unprepared for me to have forgotten him. I nodded. "That's right. The doctor said I had amnesia from a head injury." My gaze swept over him and the woman beside him. "I don't remember either of you." Daniel didn't believe it. He pointed at Marcus. "Do you remember him?" I blinked. "My parents and his parents say he's my fiancé." Upon hearing that, Daniel's body swayed. Isabel quickly steadied him, smiling sweetly at me. "Actually, you're not very close with my husband and me, but I sincerely wish you a speedy recovery. My husband and I are here for a checkup, so we won't bother you anymore." With that, Isabel pulled Daniel into the hospital. Daniel, perhaps too stunned to react, didn't correct Isabel's words. A faint pang of bitterness rose in my chest. Marcus carried me to the car, placed me in the back seat, and then got in himself. The assistant stowed the wheelchair and then slid into the driver's seat. Marcus took my hand, his thumb gently caressing my palm, sending a slight tingle through me. "Our parents are waiting for us at home for dinner." I smiled at Marcus. "Okay." Both sets of parents lived in Willow Estates. Marcus carried me home. My parents saw us and beamed happily. I feigned anger. "You two heartless old folks, not even coming to the hospital to see your own daughter." Dad chuckled. "With taking care of you, we're at ease." Marcus's parents also happily had Marcus carry me into the dining room. The two families enjoyed a harmonious meal together. The table was filled with all my favorite dishes. The warm and joyful family atmosphere had returned. Ever since I started dating Daniel, our two families rarely sat down to dinner together like this. The day Daniel agreed to be my boyfriend, I happily went home to share the news with my family. Marcus and his parents were there then. When my parents heard I had another boyfriend, they immediately flew into a rage and forced us to break up. I was thrilled to share my relationship with them, but they tried to force me to break up. I was heartbroken and stubbornly told them I would never break up. Dad, exasperated, called me willful and I was Marcus's girlfriend, so how could I be dating two people at once? I was stunned. Although we had been childhood sweethearts, we had never officially dated. When did I become Marcus's girlfriend? I cried. "I don't like Marcus, I only like Daniel." Mom called me a heartbreaker, and Dad was so angry he gave me the silent treatment. Marcus's parents sat silently beside them, and the atmosphere was tense. Then looked at me with a calm gaze and said, "I already have someone I like." The tense atmosphere suddenly shifted, then Marcus's parents started scolding him for being fickle. "These are your favorites," Marcus said, picking up some food and placing it in my bowl. I snapped out of my thoughts and tilted my head to look at him. When he said, "I already have someone I like," he meant me, didn't he? After dinner, both sets of parents told us to go home and rest. I was bewildered. Isn't this my home? Where else would I go? Seeing my bewildered expression, Mrs. Eleanor chuckled. "You and Marcus are engaged. Your future home is at Willow Manor." "Our future home?" I asked. "When was it prepared?" "Was it prepared while I was in the hospital?" Mrs. Eleanor smiled. "Marcus prepared it for you when you were 18. My breath hitched. Had been thinking of me as his wife since childhood? I was quite curious what kind of future home Marcus had prepared. So I nodded, agreeing to go with Marcus to the home that belonged to just the two of us. Marcus seemed to have put a lot of thought into designing this villa. Both the exterior and interior decor were designed according to my preferences. The front yard was filled with my favorite narcissus flowers, poplar trees, and other plants. The walls inside were painted my favorite light blue. I looked around the living room, my heart skipped a beat again. Is this our future home? Marcus carried me towards the stairs. Yes. If you don't like it, I can prepare another one for you. I nodded. I like it. What stunned me even more as the master bedroom upstairs. The bedroom had a large walk-in closet, filled with all sorts of designer women's clothing. All in styles I loved. I asked Marcus in surprise, are all these clothes mine? Marcus chuckled, his tone gentle. You love beautiful things. So, all the clothes and handbags in the walk-in closet, he'd been preparing them for me? Some of the styles were from years ago. He had been preparing them for me for years. Marcus placed me on the bed, went to the closet, took out a set of women's pajamas and underwear, then returned, squatted in front of me, and looked up at me. I'll help you bathe. My face flushed crimson. I shook my head. No, thank you. I can do it myself. Marcus let out a low chuckle. Shy, are we? I wanted to curse. I wasn't actually suffering from amnesia, so how could I not be shy? Marcus stood up, gently pinched my cheek. I'll go fill the bathtub. Just as Marcus entered the bathroom, my phone rang. It was a text message from Daniel. I opened it and saw a message from Isabel. My first time was with Daniel, and Daniel's first time was with me. Even if we broke up, he always loved me. When my ex-husband hit me, he bravely came to Canada to find me. During our time in Canada, we spent every night in revelry, and he even helped me get a divorce and brought me back. He said he'd take care of me and cherish me for the rest of his life. You were destined to lose from the very beginning. I silently closed the text message, my hand clenching and unclenching around the phone. Marcus came out of the bathroom, walked over to me, took the phone from my hand, and placed it on the nightstand. Go take a bath. I looked up at Marcus. I'll wash myself. Marcus said, the bathroom floor is slippery. What if you fall and injure your leg or get another concussion? After a moment of silence, Marcus's eyes, sharp as a torch, fixed on me. Do you dislike me? My heart skipped a beat. Aren't you my fiancé? Why wouldn't I like you? I won. To you to tell me yourself, do you like me? You've been very good during my hospital stay, and I like that very much, I said. Marcus smiled, his deep dark eyes sparkling with joy. He picked me up directly. I can be even better. Inside the bathroom, Marcus directly undressed me and lowered me into the bathtub. I was so shy, my face flushed crimson like a peach. Marcus stood by the bathtub and began to take off his clothes. My heart pounded like a drum. He hadn't even touched me, and my breathing was already erratic. What are you doing? I stammered. You always said you really liked my body, Marcus said, standing naked in front of me shortly after. He had a great physique, a perfect V-shaped physique, broad shoulders, a slender waist, long straight legs, and his abdominal, arm, and leg muscles were full of masculine charm. I swallowed hard. Marcus was lying. I had never said anything about liking his body. But I had to admit, his physique really was impressive. With one long stride, he stepped into the bathtub. My leg wasn't fully recovered. Just as I tried to get up, he pulled me into his arms. This was our first time being so intimately exposed. My heart felt like it would leap out of my chest. Marcus held me tight and began to kiss me. He wasn't going to let go this time. All that talk about letting go being the best kind of love? What a load of crap. He was nipping my earlobe, his voice husky. Grace, you belong only to me, Marcus. His kisses left me weak all over. My muddled mind vaguely recalled that several times when Daniel and I were dating, we had booked a hotel. But every single time something happened, either Mrs. Victoria would have a heart attack, or Isabel would call Daniel crying about domestic abuse, or there would be a power outage at the hotel. One time, even more terrifying, there was a snake in the hotel bathroom. I now suspected Marcus was behind it all, that he didn't want Daniel and me to be intimate. The thought sent a chill down my spine. So, Marcus, who seemed indifferent to me, had actually been observing my every move. The next day, when I woke, bright sunlight streamed in through the screen window. My whole body ached. I struggled to sit up. After I had just finished washing up, I received another text message from Daniel. It was a photo of him and Isabel entwined in bed. I knew without a doubt that Isabel had sent it using Daniel's phone number. It was strange. Yesterday, seeing that message, I still felt a little uneasy. Today, seeing an actual bed photo, my mood was surprisingly calm. Instead, it was when I caught sight of the light blue sheets imprinted with red roses that my heart pounded like a drum. Recalling scene after scene from last night, a wave of sweetness washed over me. Daniel and Isabel, Marcus and I, a perfectly fair match. A truly perfect combination. Downstairs, Marcus was full of energy, preparing breakfast for me. He was wearing loungewear, looking handsome and radiant. Hearing my footsteps, he quickly put down the spatula, turned, and picked me up. Why are you up so early? My cheeks were flushed. I can walk now, you don't have to carry me. I like carrying you, he said, setting me down on a dining chair and bringing me a bowl of a special breakfast porridge. Then, gazing at my flushed cheeks, he gave a charming grin. How was I last night? My face felt hot, and I didn't dare meet his intense gaze. I quickly lowered my head to eat the special breakfast porridge. All right. He had been gentle last night, but also wild, keeping me up all night. Marcus laughed at my shy expression, his laughter clear and bright. I'll keep working at it. Marcus and I spent a few romantic days together in the villa, our romantic getaway. During this time, Daniel kept calling me, but I didn't answer. On the 7th day, he came directly to the villa. Marcus and I were sunbathing in the garden. I was lying on a lounge chair, eating grapes Marcus had prepared for me. Marcus was trimming the plants and flowers. He said that when we're old, he wanted to live this kind of comfortable, peaceful life with me. Suddenly, the garden gate was banging loudly, and Daniel's voice could be heard calling my name from outside. Marcus looked back at me, but I just looked at him with a bewildered expression. Who's calling me? Marcus said, I'll go see. He went to open the gate, garden shears still in hand. Daniel spotted me instantly and tried to rush in, but Marcus blocked him. What do you want? Daniel glanced at the garden shears in Marcus's hand and hesitated. He looked at me frantically. Grace, I truly didn't know about your car accident when I was in Canada. Grace, I love you, and Isabel and I are innocent. I got up from the lounge chair and walked over. Marcus immediately took my hand. I saw a flicker of panic in his eyes. He was afraid I would recover my memory upon seeing Daniel, wasn't he? I looked up and gave Marcus a sweet smile. Isn't he the man we saw at the hospital last time? Did I know him before? At my words, Daniel's face twisted in pain. Grace, I'm your fiancé. I suddenly cut Daniel off. My fiancé is Marcus. I took out my phone, opened the text message app, found Daniel's chat, opened the photo Isabel sent me, and showed it to Daniel. You already have a wife, how could you be my fiancé? When saw the photo on the phone, his face changed, and his eyes were frantic and guilty. It's not what you think, I was drunk. I smiled radiantly. Whether you were drunk or not, it has nothing to do with me. Marcus ruffled my hair, his tone soft and doting. Grace, go inside. I'll talk to him. Yawning, I said, okay. I turned and entered the villa. I stood in the entryway, then turned to watch the two men outside. Now that I was out of sight, Daniel didn't even bother pretending anymore. He glared menacingly at Marcus. You took advantage of the situation. Marcus fiddled with the garden shears in his hand, speaking in a sarcastic tone. Grace is someone who knows when to let go. If you don't cherish her, you don't deserve her. What do you mean I don't cherish her? Isabel was beaten in Canada. I rescued her from a difficult situation. So you think you were doing a good deed? Daniel remained silent. Marcus scoffed. Rescued her straight into your bed, did you? I was drunk. You may have fooled Grace, but you can't fool me, Marcus said, looking at Daniel with sharp, cold eyes. Were you drunk every night in Canada too? Daniel's face paled, and he looked at Marcus furiously. You've been spying on me? I love Grace. Marcus didn't bother wasting words on Daniel, stating directly, I only allowed her to date you because she was happy. Now I don't, so don't even think about bothering her again. Daniel clenched his fists, his bloodshot eyes glaring at Marcus. Grace has amnesia, that's why you fooled her. When she recovers her memory, she'll hate you. She'll definitely come back to me. She won't, Marcus sneered at Daniel, saying with full confidence, even if she recovers her memory and finds out about you and Isabel, she'd only kick you to the curb. With that, Marcus leaned slightly closer to Daniel and whispered, Grace really likes my body right now. My body is clean, while yours is sullied. Daniel clenched his fists even harder. I dated Grace for so long, and I never touched her, but you. That's because you're useless. You're the one who's useless. Daniel roared, raising his clenched fist. But just as he raised it, before he could even strike, Marcus doubled over, clutching his stomach, staggering backward. Daniel looked at Marcus's confusing move in bewilderment. Before he could react, I rushed out, glaring angrily at Daniel. You hit my man? Daniel tried to explain, but seeing me supporting Marcus, and Marcus leaning on me, playing the innocent victim, it infuriated him beyond words. Grace, it's all my fault for saying harsh things and provoking him. I punched myself in the abdomen. It doesn't hurt, really, it doesn't hurt. Daniel was furious. Marcus, when did I hit you? I looked up, my cold gaze fixed on Daniel. I saw you. My words made Daniel pause, then he looked at me with a pained expression. You don't believe me? I don't even know who you are, why would I believe you? I said, supporting Marcus. I walked over and locked the gate, then, after a fierce glare at Daniel, I said softly to Marcus, let's go back inside. No need to pay attention to a lunatic like that. Back in the villa, Marcus shed his vulnerable act, powerfully pulled me into his arms, and bent down to kiss me. We both lay on the sofa. Afterward, Marcus buried his face in my chest. Grace, let's get married. Our parents were overjoyed beyond words when they heard we were getting married. They immediately chose the perfect date for us. Marcus had been busy with our wedding preparations these past few days. I also returned to the company and started working. That day, Daniel came directly to the company to find me. His bloodshot eyes fixed on me. Are you really going to marry Marcus? I looked calmly at Daniel. Marcus and I truly love each other. Isn't marriage the best outcome? Veins pulsed in Daniel's forehead. We were the ones truly in love. With that, he handed me an envelope. It's full of photos from when we were dating. Open it, maybe it will help you get your memory back. I took the envelope and threw it directly into the trash can, looking straight at Daniel. No need. I never had amnesia. Daniel stiffened. What did you say? I smiled softly. Thank you for abandoning me on the eve of our engagement to go find your first love in Canada. It allowed me to see your true colors and understand my own heart. Marcus and I were childhood sweethearts. Our families raised us as a married couple. Marcus loved and cherished me since childhood, yet I was blind enough to fall for a hypocrite like you. Thankfully, I came to my son. SES, and Marcus was still waiting for me. For the rest of my life, I only want to live happily with Marcus. Go back and continue sleeping with your Isabel. Hearing my words, Daniel's eyes reddened. He pleaded with me. Grace, I was wrong. Please give me another chance. I'll love you properly from now on. I questioned Daniel sharply. Didn't I give you a chance? What did I tell you when you went to find Isabel? Of course, it was a special situation. How special was it? If you can't completely cut ties with Isabel, then don't bother me. I suddenly smiled. Can you completely cut ties with Isabel? Daniel hesitated. Don't hesitate, I'll answer for you. No, you can't. Half an hour ago, Isabel found me. She's pregnant with your child. You're going to be a father. Isabel was terrified that if I recovered my memory, I would snatch Daniel away from her. As soon as she got the pregnancy report, she rushed to tell me the good news. Seeing his astonished expression, I knew Isabel hadn't told him about the pregnancy yet. Daniel clenched his fists, seemingly suppressing some emotion. His bloodshot eyes stared at me for a while before he turned and left. Just as he walked out of my office, I heard a scream. Startled, I quickly ran out to see. Daniel was clutching his eye, collapsing to the ground. Marcus stood beside him, looking down at Daniel with a cold warning. If you bother Grace again, I'll make you and Joe disappear. After delivering his warning, he saw me emerge, and his expression changed. He walked up to me, looking pitiful. Honey, my hand hurts. I took his hand, then cast a cold glance at Daniel. Next time you deal with someone like this, just let security handle it. Honey, blow on it, Marcus whined playfully, batting his eyelashes at me. This man's playful whining was truly lethal. I took his hand and brought it to my lips to blow on it. He put his arm around me, directly steered me into the office, and closed the door. Then he pinned me against the door, leaned down, and kissed me passionately. I was left with my limbs weak from his kiss before he finally let me go, smiling charmingly. That's a punishment for straying. I looked up, gazing at him with tenderness. You must have felt your heart was broken when you saw me dating Daniel, right? Marcus said, every time I saw you with him, I felt 1,000 knives in my heart. He took my hand and placed it over his heart. Here, it used to hurt so much because of you. I massaged his muscle. I won't let it hurt again. We were destined to be a couple from birth. I strayed once and hurt Marcus, but now that I've found my way home, I won't wander off again. I want to spend our lives together with Marcus.